So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would, please put your hands together for Andrew Phillips.
Afternoon. Afternoon. Gartenoon. Gartenoon. We're here to talk Essex. A-I-R-S-I-X. Okay? Essex. I brought my timer. It's a cheap one. Got it at Poundland. Only does 30 minutes. I know I could have got one at 99p shop, but who wants a timer that only goes to 29 minutes? So when this goes off, you know I'm nearly done. Audience research. Thank you. Audience research. How many people here have lived for the last 60 years in this area, Colchester and rural Essex? Own up. Own up. Oh my God, I'm in trouble. I mean, I'm from Ilford. At least Pam Ayres comes from around here. And I really am slightly immoral talking about rural Essex accents with a rather Australian tang, which is what it tends to stand. Never mind. You're a long-suffering audience. This is a new act. I normally play the banjo, and so I've got a few notes which help me along. For over 40 years, an organisation called colchesterrecall.co.uk, look us up on Google, has been recording the memories of local people. 3,350 hours so far. And that means that if you work 9 to 5, 5 days a week, doing absolutely nothing else except listening to our recordings, it will take you 1.5 years, no holidays, listening to the lot. So that's rather a lot of memories. But why I say that is because we started so long ago, we were able to catch the Colchester, because it wasn't the same as the Harwich and the Brightening Sea and the even the Marks Tay accent. You really could, if you go back far enough, tell subtle differences. And we were able to catch that just in time. I've got a couple of them here, which I want to play to you. First is Bob Hughes. He was born in the 1880s, and he's describing a punch-up. There used to be an October Fair in Colchester. He's describing a punch-up in the White Horse Yard. It's not there now, it's down at East Bay. And because the October Fair could get a bit rowdy. Now, you've got to listen very, very carefully. Can we have sound number 2? Turn it up so they can hear well, please.
We always had fairs in the White Horse Yard, and that was another place. They come there for a week before, but that's a rough house, didn't it? Then one mother said, "You get in there, I'll break your neck," she said. Left the rough house, all the troops out there, all full of soldiers, and this was all in the soldier. It was about 112 times. Always full of soldiers belting each other there, drunk. Women and men fighting soldiers, go over and click the blokes with the bottles of beer, you know. When we get past them, we go down the fairground. Where we down there, mate, and you know, we're really good, and have a good time down there.
Okay. I won't play it again, but you see how rich the accent might have been then. You might have struggled to follow some of what he was saying. I was interested to do it, to notice, because we all do it, a slight tendency to laugh. And we can so easily fall into the trap of thinking these are muddly old, daft old, rural yokels who don't know what they're talking about and are a bit stupid, wandering about like the winding lanes of Essex. And as one old boy said, and I collect people's phrases as well. Them scholars like to say, what them roads are winding 'cause of the contours. Nah, they were made by people trying to get out the wind. and that underlines a nice touch about the local accent. It sends itself up. It knows how to fool the cultural tourists that come wandering round looking for old yokels. Second little recording is Emma Went. She was one of 13 children at Crockleford Farm, that's up Harwich Road and turn right, and she drank water from a well when she was a child. There was no electricity. She went to bed with a candle, and in the back garden, down the bottom, there was a large communal toilet with a long wooden bench, 3 holes in it, one for the children, buckets underneath, with which her father regularly kept the rhubarb growing. Emma Went, recording number 2, please.
You went out the back door, which led out of the kitchen, and just round to the back of the kitchen, and that was where the toilet was built.
Wooden built, and there were tiles on the roof, like your house. And a nice door with latch, etc. And I think a cement floor, I'm sure it was, and a rag on the floor or mat, put your feet on so it wasn't so cold. And there was a high seat for us bigger ones, and mum and dad, etc. And then there was a little short seat for the little children. They had a little bucket under theirs, I think, that wasn't so big, you know, like a little pot.
And she went on to describe other fascinating details of domestic life in a way of life which would have been recognisable in Shakespeare's day. And that's one of the more extraordinary things, that caught in time, in the early part of the 20th century, there was a world which has really not changed that very much in its rural places. And I've been fascinated to hear some old phrases, which again are Shakespearean, that we've actually got on our recording. Someone referred to a crossroads as a 4 went ways. A phrase which has now been ennobled into a very large roundabout on the way to Cambridge, I notice. And someone who called a heron that flapped across the marshes a hasna. And people who weren't lonely, they were lonesome. And that lovely word survives in the deep south of America, North America, but I think it's gone forever from the vocabulary of this area. So it's great to see that, and some quite superb grammar. I'll take my umbrella, do it rain, I'll put it up. And the choir boy who forgot his surplice, and the other said, you ain't going to sing along a wee. And the star-crossed lover who said, it ain't as if she knew that I cared for she. So, marvellous creative grammar. We're all used to the ewe being a female sheep, but it has a financial use, as in, you be £2, so I asked you for it. And a shoe, which nowadays only goes on a foot, was the past tense of the word show. Or he said, give us a look and she shoe me. No one wasted words. No one said, perhaps you'd like to come round for coffee. You come round mine. I'll come round yours. You go round hers. In fact, I mispronounced that, didn't I? I should have said, you come up mine, yes. But there was still nuance possible. For example, you can drop round if you're passing. Means, don't you come till you've been asked. And those subtleties are with us still. Colchester was full of little communities who shared the town centre and fiercely defended their own territory against immigrants, who of course lived only 100 yards away. Burgolt Road wasn't even Colchester. And it really isn't now, because it takes about an hour to get through the bridge. The area around Middleborough and the picturesque Dutch Quarter, as we now call it, was just called the North. And there was a terrifying North gang, more fierce for their self-image than their reality. And Colchester people would say, I'm going down the North, which of course is technically true. But they'd also say, I'm going up Lexton Road, whereas it's perfectly flat. Mind you, they might not if the policeman stopped them. In the 1930s, there was a policeman on point duty all the time at the top of Crouch Street, keeping an eye open for boys from down the north, up to no good, going towards the protected gated community of Lexton Road. And so, this world is going to be preserved, and it'll be heard and listened to in 200 years' time, probably. Colchester was also a garrison town, we need to remember. It was awash with Irish and Scottish accents. Serving soldiers did 7 years in India, and the schools of Colchester echoed with obscene slogans in Urdu and Hindi. And Wesley Sanford was saying that he heard the wonderful expression, "Bragging old Kiwatzi." He went home and asked his father what it meant, and his father said, "Shut the door." So he did. And to this day, he doesn't know whether his father didn't know what it meant and wouldn't own up, or knew what it meant and wasn't going to tell him. In World War II, he found out what it meant. And of course, we got lots of people recording the First World War 100 years ago. And I can hear Jack Ashton now, blind, a former steam engine driver, saying, "What I remember most of all is Kitchener's army coming down Mersey Road. They all had their civvies on, you know. They had no uniforms. And the shopkeepers of Colchester did the best trade of their lives. And you could have gone up there, they put them in tents on the Abbey Field. You could have gone up there and you could get, I know people have been up there, and they got a good watch for 2 bob. Because when they got their regimentals, you know, they didn't care. And they used to gather outside. They knew when they were going because they get strawberries as their extra meal. And they used to gather and sing all the old songs in the streets. Now, none of that's in the papers, but it's preserved in Jack Ashton's voice. And then, of course, there's the endless Colchester jokes and the mistakes which are made. Doctor told me this one. Man came to see him and he said, "I'm sorry, Doc. Me leg's paining me terrible." And the doctor looked at him and looked at his leg and he said, "I'm very sorry. There's absolutely nothing I can do for you. You have to put it down to old age." And he said, "Well, I'll be hanged for that. It's the same age as the other leg and that's all right." They don't make sausages, boy, like they don't taste the same as they used to. It's all them conservatives they're putting in them. I'm glad the empty house is empty now. All those squatters were in there smoking cannibals. And then, of course, there's all the Colchester stories, the Irish jokes of their day. I told you it was a cheap one, it always goes off early. I'm sorry, Mr. MC. The Colchester stories, which are wonderful, the Colchester fire. These are stories, of course, made up to send up the locality and the people. When the Colchester Fire Brigade got a new engine with a motor and a long ladder, they were itching for a fire to try it out. And then finally in August, a haystack started to smoke in the heat. They jumped in the cab, started the engine. It had been left in reverse gear and it thumped into the back of and the ladder stuck into the side of the barn. And the driver said, "Bugger me, this'll take some time. Boy, get a can of petrol, get on your bike and go up there and keep the thing alight till we can get there." The Colchester brass band were practising at Christmas. Nothing like the style of these folk up here, but they had been practising like mad. The snow was coming down thick, and the parson thought, "I'll just go and thank them." So he went in and pulled the door open as the wind howled, and he said, "Boys, you sounded just wonderful outside in the yard." So they all went outside and carried on practising. You probably know there used to be 24 pubs, some people say 36, between Hythe Quay and St Bottles. And men who would drink a pint in each and hoped to be standing when they got to St Bottles corner, now a roundabout. And a couple of men from the Leather Bottle at Trub End decided to go and try it out, and they started the maltsters on, and they got no further. And when they were thrown out, they tottered away. One said to the other, "Let's get a taxi." And the other one said, "No, the funds won't run to it." So they staggered up Hyde Hill and up Barrett Street and halfway up Magdalen Street to the Corporation bus depot. "Oi," said one of them, "you go in there and pinch a bus and we'll get home that way." "I'll keep watch." So he waited, and his friend went in. There was the sound of an engine starting up, and a room, 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 and thump, wallop, silence. Another engine, thump, wallop, silence. He thought, "What the hell's he doing? He's drunk. The law will come." And there's banging and walloping and engines starting and closing, and eventually a very, very battered bus staggered out of the bus station. He said, "What kept you?" he said. "I've been mighty waiting here." And he said, "The bloody Shrub End bus was right at the back." Ballads from the great Charles Benham. Some of you may know it. Okay. "I seen young Nat come out of his as I come out of mine. And when you're off to, boy, I says you're dressed up something fine. I'm going by the train," he say, "in half an hour or so. I'm going to Colchester today," he say, "if you must know." He never been to Colchester? He ain't not been there. Now there's a caution in it, sir. He never seen the town. He ought to go next Saturday, sir, when I shall be a-going. But that's today for Colchester, Saturday afternoon. I told him so. "You want to go on market day," says I. "See the people? You don't know the crowds and crowds," I say. "And all them little stalls and that, along the high street." "No, I see, young Nat, you never been afore. There's rabbits, birds, guinea pigs, sweets of every kind, and knives and tools and thingamajigs, all manner of things you'll find. And fish and oysters, don't they say? And how them chaps can shout. And Wilkes already, so there's no trouble getting out. Yes, that's the day to see the town. Along with all your pals and keep a walking up and down and talking to the girls. Well, I can't stop me say good luck, and off go Master Nat. He got a peacock feather stuck, just so like that he's had. Well, hurry up, says I, and take care of yourself. You've got no time to lose. Goodbye, goodbye. Fare you well. Here comes the train. You're all behind. You bet me starting forth. But you get out of Buttle's mind. Don't. You'll go round the north. You need to know, of course, that in those wonderful days, Colchester Town Station was St Botolph Station, Buttles. Thank you very much.
Andrew Phillips, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Andrew.